本日は番外編ということで、ある人にインタビューしに行きます。そのある人とは、なんと今年2024年のアカデミー賞、科学技術賞を受賞されたジェフ・レイトさんです。今回はそんなジェフさんにインタビューさせていただけることになったので、Houdini20で私が特に気になっていたFLIPやOceanの新機能について細かくお話を伺いたいと思います。Hi everyone, I'm Ohashi and it is my great pleasure to be the MC for this interview. First, let me introduce our special guest for today's interview. This is Jeff from SideFX. Thank you for coming today. And I'd like to introduce you to our special guest, Jeff. He is a senior mathematician at SideFX software where he has worked on Houdini since version 1.0. And he has contributed to geometry processing, rigid body server, and 3D simulation. So let's start the interview. Houdini 20 was released in November, and are there any particular features that are your favorite, like about FLIP or Ocean?
Yeah, definitely in the FLIP and Ocean space, I'm quite excited by the fact the whitewater solver is now at the SOP level. So you can now, at SOPs in the geometry context, do the whole FLIP Ocean workflow, from creating your ocean surfaces to running a FLIP simulation to applying whitewater to it.
With Houdini 20, the FLIP solver and FLIP simulation were added to the SOP, and I was surprised that it is no longer necessary to work in the DOP, since the new FLIP solver can be tried at the SOP level. So when did the development start to work at SOP instead of DOP? Like, also, what was the impetus?
That's a very good question, because it's actually the case that it's still in DOPs. It's just we've wrapped it up to put it at the SOP level. So if you dive into those SOPs, you'll find dynamic operators inside of them. The motivation came from the Vellum solver. When we developed the Vellum solver, we actually had two versions. Well, the DOP version, and then we had a wrapped up SOP version on top of it. And we weren't really sure what people would prefer to use. And we discovered people really loved to be able to work quickly at the geometry level and only get into DOPs if they're doing something complicated. So we've tried to spread that to our other solvers. So RBD can be done at the SOP level, and with Houdini 20, there's SOP-based crowds as well. And similarly, FLIP has moved to the SOP level.
Yeah. And now you have a new feature called Houdini Procedural Ocean Loop that can handle the ocean in loop. This tool works with both common CPU and common XPU, and as well as with third-party renders. So how do you think this feature will change rendering speed and workflow?
I think this is going to be a very important feature, not just by what it is itself, but by how we approached it. So we had this problem with Mantra where we'd have a ocean renderer for Mantra that was very good, and you could layer different ocean spectrums together. And the way it worked was you could save out one ocean spectrum, and then over time it would just use that ocean spectrum to generate oceans at different times. The problem was, if you weren't using Mantra, you had to actually bake those files out. So rather than having one file for your 240 frames, you need 240 files. And these are very large textures. And you'd lose all the proceduralism of how to layer the things together. So we really struggled with a way to open that up beyond Mantra, because people would be, how do I use this in another renderer? But with LOPS and USD, we're able to basically install procedurals. And so we've developed a way to do procedurals that are written not in C++ and not in some other coding language, but are actually written in geometry operators. So the Ocean procedural is a bunch of SOP nodes that gets packaged up, sent through USD, and then run by Husk to expand just in time for the render. So this expansion is actually done at the micropolygon level with the camera that the render is using. So basically you can have a huge 8-kilometer, 20-kilometer ocean, and it will only generate the triangles where it's needed and displace those. But this can be used for any effect other than Oceans. It's just this is one of the key ones we've experimented with.
I usually use Solaris, so I want to try. Yeah, thank you. And when creating the Ocean in VFX, FX artists face the challenge of white water. In Houdini 20, the white water solver node can be handled at the SOP level. So what was a part of white water development that you focused on?
Yeah, for Houdini 20, our primary goal was just to move it to the SOP level. That's pretty straightforward because I was already having the source being at the SOP level. So it's just a question of having the actual solvent part being wrapped up. But we decided to take some look at how it works as well, particularly looking at the source and to see if there's better ways of determining where to emit white water. So some additional methods for sourcing white water in Houdini 20.
Okay, thank you.
You have just heard my presentation on OpenCL, and maybe you're interested in multi-threading for real. If you want to get into multi-threading, there's this excellent book which goes into the depths of parallelism, and it was also written with me as one of the authors, which of course makes it one of my favorite books to read when I need to sleep. Thank you very much.
The new question, AI has developed in recent years. And more AI is being integrated into software. And have you discovered anything new in terms of new features and AI this time around?
Yeah, so in the Houdini 20 development cycle, we really started to look at trying to implement some of the AI solutions that are out there inside of Houdini. What we have found when we look at them is the models you create tend to be very specific to the problem you have. So it's hard to produce a model that could be used by all of our artists the same way. So it's more important for us to connect the AI researchers and the AI developers with the Houdini artists to make sure that their models are able to run inside of Houdini as easily as possible. So with Houdini 20, we have new tools for that. We have an Onyx SOP that can do inference, and we have some raw geometry import and export nodes that let you move between the tensors of the PyTorch world and the geometry attributes of the Houdini world.
And I think Houdini will develop more in the future, but are there any particular features or issues that you would like to enhance?
One thing we're always working on is usability, to try and make things smooth and easy to use, and get to the nodes you need as fast as possible without having to do a lot of boilerplate work.
And thanks to the greatly improved functionality in Houdini, the artists themselves can now spend more time on artistic aspects such as the look instead of just spending so much time on technical issue. I think everyone is very happy about that. And what is the most important things to you in your work, like working as a developer in SideFX?
Yes, so what really gets me excited working on SideFX is that I get to enable the creative vision of artists. We're sort of making paintbrushes that amazing artists are painting with, and to be able to find a new way to make a paintbrush that might make them make better art or more exciting art is always very rewarding.
With the Houdini features you developed, what kind of VFX works would you like to see in the future?
My personal preferences are highly procedural, chaotic, unusual, weird, psychedelic type systems.
Okay.
So usually stuff I haven't seen before.
And finally, Jeff, do you have any message for artists who use Houdini?
I mean, have fun.
Have fun?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's ideally it's an enjoyable experience, but sometimes it isn't, and we have to hammer through bugs and stuff like that. So I want to apologize for the bugs that slow it down or cause it to crash when you have a very important work that you're trying to get done. We do feel for your suffering, but I just love to see the art you make. So please keep working through our things and have patience with us. And provide us RFEs, which are requests for enhancement. Tell us about your bugs, because if you can give us a crash report, we can fix it. We actually do fix it, but we can't do that if we don't find out about it. Yes, please keep up the good work.
Okay, and thank you so much, Jeff. We are looking forward to your future success. that was a really good interview. And if you have any question about this video, please use YouTube comments. And even if you don't have any question, we would be very happy if you could comment on anything about this video. And that's all for today. See you next.